Es kann nur einen Maurice Bishop geben. Grenada wird nie wieder einen Anfuhr haben. Der sitzt so sehr das Volk seines Volkes sorgte. Leider war von extremen Opportunisten umgeben. Now Grenada will only have one Maurice Bishop in its history. And there would never be another leader who so genuinely cared about its people like that ever again. The only unfortunate thing is that he was surrounded by ultimate opportunists. And what is insulting to his legacy, and many of you pretend to love him so much, is that many of these opportunists are now trying to rewrite the history of Grenada and are now trying to bastardize his name, and aided by unaware, in some respects politically naive, young men and women. Now, these people we're talking about here, this playbook that they are trying to repeat in this year time is not new. They have tried it in the 70s, and in some respects, it worked. They came in, they hijacked the jewel, and then formed the NGN. Okay? And from the get-go, they had their partisan section within the NGN. And the rest is history. We understand what happened. So what you see right now, these remnants and these elements of that particular period seem to be trying the same old playbook and thing again. Okay? These sick, in some respects, politically sick people are trying to hijack the youth of today. But these young fellas don't really know these men. But of course, for political expediency, and just like they did in the 70s, where they absolutely demonized Sir Eric Matthew Gary, and now you see they've created an effigy in Dr. Keith Mitchell and has entirely demonized him. So there is some sort of something to bind themselves together to fight against. They've also created a stark contrast between age and youth. Another demarcation line to create some sort of division in the society, to pit the young Grenadian people against their parents, against elder statesmen, and people with a little more experience and judgment. Now they're encouraging the youth, whose minds they're utterly playing with, to despise these elder statesmen. These people, that is how they function. They did the same thing in the late 70s, and they did exactly the same thing during the PRG, where even parents, in some respects, were scared to talk to their children or to say anything remotely against the PRG. So now you see the bandwagonists, and people know, now you see the bandwagonists, a lot of people like a winner. They figure, oh, they've never been part of NDC. So all of a sudden now, they feel like they want to jump on the bandwagon. A lot of them are without identity. So this gives them a sense of identity. Some of them are in it for the money. Some of them are in it for the fame and the glory. Some of them just want to be part of something and give them a sense of identity because they don't have anything else that they can latch onto to define their lives. So these fellas, these washed up remnants of the PRG, these fellas are good at cunning. I'm not going to take that away from them. I mean, we saw how 83 ended, right? They had to be good at cunning and deception to deceive their comrades and do what they did. And that is why you've seen they've infiltrated the ranks of the NDC. Because they know that the youth within the NDC have some sense of admiration, have some sense of delusional romanticization of the PRG period, and even of Maurice Bishop himself. So, these fellas who happen to be part of the process, who hijacked the jewel and the transform NJM. So they know the game. They themselves don't create anything because they don't have a doctrine that's sung and that works. So what they do is that they're masters of sellers of fantasy. That's what they're good at. They're masters of sellers of fantasy. Hear me again. They're pretty good at that. So what they're doing now, they've infiltrated and hijacked the NDC and are selling a fantasy to the youth of Grenada. But it is quite obvious that the people who should know better have not done a very good job of truly educating the youth of Grenada. Because if they did, they would not fall for, okay? They would not be baited by, they would not swallow all of the fantasy that is being spewed to them, lock, stock, and barrel. They would not have drank that Kool-Aid that is being given to them. If they were truly and properly educated. And the problem is that nobody wanted to talk about it. So that is why you see some sort of resurgence of this socialist Marxist crap. Okay? And that's why you see everybody is gobbling up and say, oh, well, the socialist Marxists are rising again. So now is our time to align with them. Pure nonsense. I mean, I've delved into, there's actually no socialist Marxists in the world anymore. All the socialist Marxists, if you look at these countries that claim to be socialist Marxists, they're in some respects are the ultimate capitalists. That is the only way they could have survived. And the ones that didn't go along with the tide, the ones that wanted to remain fanatical and purish and idealistic, are lost in the annals of history. The economies are ruined. Okay? The economies are ruined. Their people are in tatters in many respects. So, I think I've tackled those subjects in so many other videos. But it's just a little quick warning again. Be realistic. Be pragmatic. Okay? Be careful for these wolves in sheep clothing. You're warned. You've seen already. The little advices they gave you, you saw where it led. So if you want to continue being advised by these pretty much losers, then go ahead. Go ahead. Let's see where that leads.